Been knew you was on it. Still tryna see where you flaws it. So perfect being what you called it. So perfect being.
It's not something we put up with, and it's not something that we're known for as being a department that engaged in a lot of misconduct. So that's why we move quickly on stuff. We don't just kind of wait around. We'll get on it and see what we. If there's different things that could happen. There could be some sort of disciplinary issue for the officer. It could be anywhere from what's called kind of a coaching, a skills improvement type things of, hey, this is how this can be done better.
Yeah.
All the way up to.
Hey YouTube, it's your girl Tay ENT, and I'm back with another video. Lit, all that. This story time today is going to be about the time I almost got arrested on campus. This ain't gonna be like the most funniest story, but it's definitely a motherfucking story, okay? It's definitely tea. So if y'all want to know how little old me almost got arrested, watch me eat these wings that I picked up from Juicy Crab and be quiet. So I'm gonna take a bite of this wing before I even say anything. Cause I'm definitely gonna be eating talking. This food is so good. Okay, this all happened March last year, like around the 3rd or the 4th. I'm on campus leaving. I had just did my classes. I finished around like 12 o'clock, and I'm finna leave. I'm in my Volkswagen Jetta that I had at the time. Ended up wrecking that bitch. Like, it was a terrible 2020 for me, okay? And I'm about to give y'all all the facts. All right. So I'm leaving campus, and it's this way, like, I go to University of Alabama. So if you are familiar with that campus, you're just familiar that it's a lot of ways that you can't turn, that only buses can turn, but people still turn there anyway because it don't even be buses going down there most of the time. And most of the time them just be like the quickest ways to get on and off of campus or where you gotta go. So you gonna cut through the bus route sometime just so you know, skirt, like, it's time to motherfucking get off campus. I'm trying to go home, okay? I turn, like, it's a do not enter. I turn down and I see a cop come. I'm like, oh fuck, like, damn it. So he like flashes lights or whatever. I guess he was trying to tell me to like turn around, but I had already turned down on the street, and like the street was so short, like I don't even know like what distance to compare it with. Like it wasn't even like a mile long. Like I wouldn't even say it was like half a mile. And then as soon as you get to the end of the street, it's back to the regular roads. So either way, like, I can't just turn around in the middle of this road. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to just go straight and, like, just go, like, I just have to go straight. Because now I'm going to be turning around going, I think, the opposite way that traffic is supposed to go. And it just didn't make no sense. So I kept going. I was like, okay, I see you flashing your lights, but what you want me to do? Get out of my car and start walking? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, just leave the vehicle here? Like, I don't know. And so he started following me. So I'm like, oh shit, bro. Like, okay. Like, it wasn't nothing going on. So I was just like, okay, like, I'm finna see whatever he got to say. So he rolled down the window. He was like, you going down, do not enter or whatever. And so I was like, oh, I apologize. I'm just trying to get off campus. I just got done with my classes, da 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 da. So he was like, I understand, ain't nothing happening. He was like, I understand if you just go straight and turn, you could get to Jack Warner, and that's how you get off campus. I already knew that, but I'm just like, okay, thank you very much. I'll be on my way. And so I'm finna roll my window up. He literally finna let me go. He was like, okay, if you could just go that way, whoop whoop whoop, and do the whoop de whoop, you could whoop de whoop. And so I'm like, okay, cool, like, see you later. He's like, can I see your license and registration? And I was like, what you need to see my license and registration for? Like, for what? And and me being the person that I am, I wanted to know why he needed my license and registration. I was like, okay, why you need to see my license and registration? I thought you were just about to let me go. And he was like, he said it was like routine for a traffic stop. And I was like, okay. So I gave him my license, registration, and all of that. He went back to the vehicle, checked it, whatever, came back. At that time, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my license was suspended for a super speeder ticket because your girl thinks she living in Fast and Furious in real life, okay? But I ain't got no ticket since then. None. Like, I haven't got no ticket since then. All the points took it off my license. I took the course that I needed to take to get my license unsuspended. Like, your girl ain't got no more legal trouble, okay? At that time, I did know my license was suspended. I had just found out, like, literally, like, within that week or something crazy like that. I had just found out my license was suspended, but I still had to go to class and stuff like that on top of trying to figure out how I can get my license reinstated. And at that time, the pandemic had just started, like, going crazy. Everything had started to, like, get shut down a little bit. And so, like, all the licensing stuff, all the places that you go to get your license, like, reinstated, and all the classes that you could take to get your license, like, points taken off of it, all those classes that was in person was no longer in person. And I don't even think the state of Alabama had, like, any classes that I could take, period. I had a Georgia's license, y'all. A motherfucking Georgia's license. And so I had to take a Georgia class, and it had to be online, like, face to face. Like, I had to go through a lot, y'all. Like, it was literally a lot just to get my license reinstated. And I was like 20, 21 at the time. I don't know. I'm 21 now. I was either 21 or 20. And I had got that ticket when I was 18, and I had paid it, but I had no idea that I was supposed to take a course because it was a super speed ticket, because I got it in Virginia, and in Virginia the laws is just different. Like, I got pulled over for going like 83, but if you're going over 80, they can charge you for super speeding. Like, that shit is fucking retarded. I got pulled. So I literally explained to him the story. I was just like, I was just trying to go to class. I just found out that my license was suspended, and I was having to go through all that trouble just to get it reinstated. He was very, very understanding to my situation. Like, I was shook how understanding he was. Like, we had no issues at that point. And he was just like, it's okay. Like, if you call somebody to come pick you up, I could let you go, but I just can't let you pull off. And I mean, I understood that, like, to the fullest, like, completely understood that. I was gonna call my boyfriend to come pick me up, but then man started talking and was like, I smell weed in your car. And I was like, ain't no weed in here, y'all. After that, y'all, shit got fucking crazy. Like, when I tell you that shit got crazy, he said he smelled weed. I said straight up, there's no weed in my there's no weed in my car. You come search that shit. Like, you come searching. My car didn't even smell like weed. I had just sprayed my whole car down with that in the morning. And like I was riding around with my windows down and everything. Just cause like I just like my car to smell good, period. Like it had nothing to do with like my car smelling like weed. Like I have smell good stuff in my car all the time. So I know for a fact when he rolled down the window, the first thing that he smelled was that orange citrus spray. Cause that shit is strong as fuck. Like it cancels out all smells and odors and stuff. So I was like, this nigga really tripping. But I was like, if he feel like he got time today and he want to search my vehicle, he could go ahead and do that shit. Like, I'm not doing shit. I just got out of class. I ain't had shit to do for the rest of the day. Like, not shit. And so, willingly, I let him search my car. I was like, okay, if you want to search my car, you can search my car. There's no weed in here. Like, straight facts, big facts, all that. No rap in my cab. And so, he was like, okay, all right. So he goes back to his car and he calls some people because I guess you got to have another cop with you whenever you're doing searches and stuff. So I'm just waiting. Next thing I know, 4 police cars are surrounding my Volkswagen Jetta. Not cars. Okay, let me back. 4 big body police trucks is surrounding my little ass Volkswagen Jetta in the middle of campus at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever time it was. And we by the Fur. That's where like all the food and shit is at. So everybody and their mama is out there trying to get them some lunch. So I'm like, oh, like what the fuck? Like what did y'all smell cocaine on me? Like, did y'all see back cocaine that I didn't see? Cause this shit right here is fucking ridiculous. So at this point, it's people like watching from the windows in the buildings around. It's people gathered around with their phones out and shit trying to figure out what's going on. I'm still not saying shit. I don't have a dislike for police officers, but I am a black female, so I'm aware how police officers can treat us in certain situations. So I know whatever the police come around, just don't say too much. Like, don't. I mean, if you black, you know. And so I'm not saying nothing. They're all black. They're all white police officers. It's 3 white males and 1 white female that end up showing up to the scene. I'm not saying nothing. They trying to have like small talk with me and stuff like that. Y'all, I can't eat and mukbang at the same time because y'all literally just watch me play with that piece of chicken. But I'm just so busy talking. Shit, I lost my train of thought like a bitch. So they try to make small talk with me and stuff like that, like asking me just like irrelevant questions. And like I don't even think I responded back to them. Like I was just kind of looking because I was so confused, like what the fuck was going on. And I was just looking, like just just nodding my head and stuff like that. I was not saying nothing. And the 2 male officers was like, we're gonna search your car, and then the female officer and the other male officer are gonna stand right here beside you while we search your car. So I was like, okay, cool. I was standing, like my car was literally in the middle of the road, and so I was standing on the side, like I was standing right in front of the curb, right in front of the sidewalk, watching them just search my car, go through my stuff, my bags, my computer bag, all that was in my car. I didn't take it out. They were searching like my purse, everything. I could have took my book bag out, my purse out, and they, would have been able to search it because they could only have searched my vehicle. But, I knew I didn't have no weed on me, so I didn't, like, they could have searched my asshole. Like, I didn't have no weed on me. And so, they started searching my computer bag, though. Like, and I had my wallet and stuff in it. And so, I'm sitting in the middle of the road. I take a step back. I told you I was standing on the curb. So I took a step back and stood on the sidewalk. So I wasn't in the middle of the street. And when I took a step back, the male officer that was standing next to me was like, he was like, whoa, what you doing? And, I was just like, I'm just stepping back on the sidewalk. And he was like, I don't like people doing all that movement when searches is going on. Like, he being kind of like, like, make something shake. If you move, I'm like, he was just being real, he was moving as if I was a threat. And that's when I knew, that's when I should have realized that that situation was going to go downhill. So I'm like, okay, so I just didn't move after that. I'm just standing on the sidewalk watching 4 officers search my vehicle. Then they started going through my bag. And I just wanted to watch them go through my bag so they didn't take none of my money or anything like that, because it had my wallet in it. And so I'm literally standing on the sidewalk. I leaned over to the side because I think the officer was like standing in front of my view. And so I just leaned over, not even moving my body position. Like, I just, not even moving like my feet. Like, I'm still in the same area that I was in. I don't even think I took a step. I just leaned over to see like what he was doing. And the officer is like, mind you, he's still standing in front of me. The officer that told me not to do all that movement before, when I had leaned over to see, just to watch, just to get a better view of the officer, he snatched me up. Like, he grabbed my arm and snatched me the fuck up and was like instantly in my face and was like, you know, I told you, stop doing all that movement. He was like, I'm finna cuff you and put you on the sidewalk. And I'm like, get your hands off of me. I have not done anything wrong. And my tone, like, I went from not saying anything at all. Now I'm raising my voice because why you have your hands on me? And the female officer standing next to me, not saying a bitch ass thing. So he got his hands on me. I'm like, sir, you know, get your hands off of me, because he gripping my arm. I'm like, get your hands off me. I said, I haven't done anything. And me, my everyday language, I say the N-word. I'm black and I'm proud. I can't help if the N-word roll off my tongue. So I said, nigga, get your hand off me. Get your hand off me right now. Like, I'm just telling this man. And so he like, at this point, we going back and forth. He yelling in my face. I'm yelling back in his face, because nigga, you got me fucked up. I have not done anything wrong. I said, I'm just standing here peacefully. I have not said anything to y'all. I've allowed y'all to search my vehicle. What are you doing? And so at this point, I'm like, you know, can you call the officer over that actually pulled me over? Because he didn't pull me over, the female didn't pull me over, and one of the other niggas that was searching my car with the officer that pulled me over, he didn't pull me over. So I was like, okay, can you call the officer over that was actually handling this situation? Because you just showed up and you trying to like strong arm me right now, and I'm not going for that. And so literally at this point, all 4 of the officers are surrounding me at this point, because me and the officer started going back and forth. And so I'm like, sir, like, can you come over here? Sir, I'm talking to the one that pulled me over. Can you come over here? I'm literally saying this. Can you come over here and de-escalate the situation? Like, those words came out my mouth. De-escalate. Like, I need you to come over here and calm everything down, because it literally got hostile. And I was like, y'all, I'm sorry. To this day, like, this is just something that's really hard for me to talk about, because being a black woman in the middle of a PWI, like, your worst nightmare is just to see, y'all, hold on. Your worst nightmare is to be surrounded by a whole bunch of police officers and to just be alone. Like, literally, it's so many people with their phones out recording, but nobody doing shit. And I, like, in that moment, all those officers surrounding me, hands on me, yelling. I didn't know if I was gonna make it out that situation alive. Like, I shit y'all not. I was terrified, like, terrified, petrified. And I'm only 5'3". Like, I'm only 5'3". I weigh 125 on a good day, on a thick day. And so for all those officers to be on me like that and yelling, and me the whole time I'm saying, yo, like, what is going on? Can we all calm down? And they're so adamant on just making the situation worse. And I'm like, yo, like, can one person talk to me at one time? Like, why are y'all all trying to grab me at once? So the officer the officer that had cuffed me, or not cuffed me, the officer that had grabbed me and was like, you know, I don't want you doing all that movement. Now all the officers are on me at one time. He's like, you know what? Cuff her and put her on the sidewalk. And I'm like, no. I said, y'all are not about to put handcuffs on me and sit me on the sidewalk in front of all these people like that. And I have not done anything wrong. Like, I felt like they was trying to make a mockery out of me. Like, it was nothing but white people around us with cameras and shit looking. Y'all are not finna do me like this. And like, I am like a student here. This is the institution that I pay for. I ain't no gangbanger. I ain't no. And they really try to put me in that box in that moment. And I don't think I ever felt more violated. I don't think I ever felt more violated in my whole entire life. Like, violated. And so they all on me. And I'm like, you know, no, like, y'all not finna cuff me. I'm finna insert a video. Because I have a video of that altercation. Fuck these wings at this point. Like, I will never do a mukbang again because I can't eat and talk at the same time. Now a bitch crying and shit. Like, what the fuck? Anyway. Y'all, so they're like, okay, cuff her, put her in the back of the police car. And at this point, I'm like profusely crying. I have never in my life, y'all, like, I'm still trying to cry. Like, what the fuck? Like, real niggas don't cry. And I'm sitting over here crying, like, but like, that's how you know this shit is just real, like, traumatizing. Like, I have PTSD from this shit. So I've never been put in the back of a police car before. Like, only run-in I've ever had with the police is a speeding ticket. Like, that's it. I'm military. Always been around, like, in military police, soldiers. Like, I have respect for law enforcement. But I don't have respect for that racist shit. Go. You know, I've never been put in the back of a police car before. Like, ever. Like, that's not my MO. I'm not that type of bitch. At this point, like, it's nothing I can do. It's like some people outside with their cameras out, and so they cuff me. It take 4 of them to cuff me, and it take 4 of them to put me in the back of a police car. And yeah, I've never felt so humiliated, so violated, so broken. I've never felt so black than I have in that moment. So I'm sitting in the back of the police car sobbing. Like, what is going on right now? Like, are they gonna take me to jail? Like, they could do anything to me at this point, and nobody's doing anything. And so I'm proactive. Like, I'm devastated, but I'm proactive at the same time. I remember seeing on Twitter, love me some black Twitter. If a police officer pulls you over and you're black, ask for their badge number. And that's just period on period. I knock on the door so somebody can come and talk to me because they're all still searching my car. And it was like an officer standing right there, the female officer. And so she opened the door. I'm like, can I get everybody's badge number? And at first she was like, no. You know, I'm asking her name and she don't really want to tell me what her name is. And then the other guy that had cuffed me walked over. And I was like, you know, sir, what's your name? What's your badge number? And he like refused. He was like, you know, I'm not telling you that information. And so I'm like, okay. And so when I asked the girl again, like at first, it sounded like she was about to tell me the information. Like I was gonna talk my way into telling her it. But then when the guy had came over and said no, she was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't give you nobody's information. And I'm like, y'all are required to tell me y'all's badge numbers. All of y'all are on the scene for this cocaine chase. Like, they done fucking found Pablo Escobar or some shit in my goddamn trunk. Like, anyway, all of y'all finna tell me y'all names and badge numbers. Refuse to give me any information. None. So the officer, like at this point, I'm still crying as I'm talking. So the officer slammed, like he closed the door in my face. The one that that cuffed me, like said cuff her, put her on the sidewalk, closed the door in my face, and walked away from the scene. He was laughing. Like, I'm literally looking at this man get in his car. His car was parked right behind the one that I was placed in the back of due to him. And he got in his car laughing. So I start banging on the door. Like, I see him laughing, I start banging on the door. I'm like, you know, he's laughing. Like, what is he laughing for? What's his name? What's his badge number? Da 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 da. And nope, nobody's giving me no information. So at this point, I'm like, I already know what type of tip y'all on. Like, I already know what's going on now. Y'all placing me in the back of the police car for no reason, walking away from the scene laughing, and this wasn't even your scene that she was over. You was just somebody here to watch to make sure nothing went wrong. And so I'm like, okay, cool. You want to put me in handcuffs and walk away laughing? Cool. So I had and y'all, mind y'all, let me back it up a little bit, because I'm trying to make sure I don't leave any details out, and so I'm gonna have to like backtrack sometimes over details that I missed. But while they're trying to put me on the sidewalk and stuff like that, I'm like, no, like, I don't want to be another black woman on campus in the middle of PWI. I'm like doing that talk, because that's exactly what was going on. And all of them, it was like in unison. They was like, oh, like, y'all, you ain't finna hit us with this crap. Like, you know, don't start with that. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, don't start with that? Like, that's what the fuck is going on right now. Like, I have not done anything wrong. And look what y'all are doing right now. And look how hostile and aggressive y'all are acting towards me. And I'm sitting over here not saying anything, not initiating nothing. I'm 5'3", 125 pounds on a thick day. What threat do I pose to anybody? Anybody with no weapons, nothing on my body. So I was like, okay, all right. So the man walked away laughing. All right, cool. So I'm still in the back of the police car crying, like, what's going on? I'm pretty sure I was in the back of that police car for like 30 minutes. But mind you, they had already been searching my vehicle. And so I'm like, how long does a search take? Like an hour? So finally, the officer that pulled me over, he came back to the scene. Well, he came back to me, and I'm like, you know, can we get some like Alabama police, Tuscaloosa police to pull up, because I don't feel safe. Like, I was like, you know, I'm scared, whatever I was saying to that man. But I was like, you know, I need some real, I said I need some real police to pull up. I did not feel safe, like, at all. And he got so mad at me, y'all. I'm gonna try not to cry again. Because that was probably the second moment where I felt like this man finna take a gun out and shoot me. And he literally started yelling in my face, I am the real police, da 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 da, like wolfing on me, and slammed the door in my face, bro. Yeah, I didn't know if that man was gonna come back and shoot me. What? I'm gonna definitely like post the names of all the officers that were involved in the incident, and all of that, because nothing was done about the situation, and I'm gonna get to that. Mind y'all, he was finna come. He came to the door so he could give me my ticket and send me on my way, but he copped the attitude and nearly did a white on black crime on my ass, and had to leave and calm down. And he left for like 15-20 minutes. It took him that long to calm down. And he finally came back and was like, look, I'm gonna just give you a warning. We didn't find anything. I'm just gonna give you a warning for a traffic violation. So I'm out here for like over an hour. Y'all cuffed me, told me he was gonna put me on the sidewalk, then put me in the back of the police car. It's 4 police officers out here, and the mandatory for this type of situation is 2. I'm in the middle of the PWI. Black. I'm a female. I'm 5'3". I'm 125 pounds. You mean to tell me you went through all of that? Okay, sent the motherfucking cavalry in just to let me go with a warning? Sheesh. You out of all 4 of those officers, I don't know how the fuck y'all sleep at night, But I hope y'all get no sleep, because y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Y'all are out here ruining people's lives. Y'all are out here making people afraid of all police officers because of stupid negligence like this. Oh, y'all make me sick. Sick to my stomach. Y'all hurt my soul, bruh. My motherfucking soul hurt. But God see that. And you gonna have to answer to God for this. But anyway. Finally, the officer that arrests me finally uncuffs me and lets me go. And he was like, I'm gonna have to call somebody to come and drive my car, because obviously I can't drive it. So I'm like, okay, cool. And yeah, like that was just that on that. Like my boyfriend came, he checked his license and stuff like that. And y'all, like, I probably cried for the rest of that day. Like, I know I cried for the rest of that day. Like, I got home and got in my bed and I got under my covers and I just cried. I was crying so hard. Like, that was my worst nightmare coming to life. And so my next thought process after I had picked myself together, because it took a minute, y'all. It took a minute for me to pick myself up after that. I wanted to drop out of school. I did not feel safe on campus. And so I picked myself up and I was like, what am I going to do about the situation to get the actions taken against these officers that are needed? So I immediately go to UAPD. I write a formal report with I think the captain or the lieutenant. And then I think I had went in there to speak to the chief of police, and I ended up speaking to the captain or the lieutenant over the police. And so he's telling me, y'all, I have like recordings. If anybody's interested in listening to recordings of my conversations while I was at UAPD, I have recordings between when I was writing the formal complaint and when I was speaking to, I think his name is Micah Rogers. He's over like the diversity at the UAPD department, a black man, the only black person I spoke to during this whole entire situation. And shit, he was definitely no good to me. Like, I think they just wanted me to speak to a black person so I would feel better about the situation, knowing that he wasn't going to do anything, but they just wanted me to speak to a black person so we could kumbaya together or something. I don't know. And so after I spoke to the white officer and wrote my case and stuff like that, he set me up an appointment with Micah. And we spoke, and I recorded that conversation as well. I have like hours of recordings. Like, the whole time he was just contradicting himself. The whole time he was just backtracking. The whole time I had that man like caught the fuck up. And I'm glad I got those recordings, because like if anything ever does pop off, like I said what I said, and I caught you lacking, nigga. Like, so this is what happened. So I get there and I still don't know the names of the officers because the officers refuse to tell me their names. So I'm in the police report, I'm writing, and I'm like, the officer that looked like this, the female officer, like I don't know none of the names to write them in the police report. And the officer that I was like speaking to, I was writing the report, I noticed he didn't tell me their names until after I had, written the report and we were going over them. And he was never like, make sure you include the officers' names in the report. I thought that was just weird, And so I end up speaking to Micah, and I'm, telling him about everything. And like, before I even explain what happened, he's like, I'm just trying to make sure this is not a race issue. And I'm like, you don't even know the story, and you're already questioning me, trying to make sure this is not an issue on race. Like, did somebody already come into your police department and talk to you about this situation? I'm confused, because why is that the first thing that you're saying to me? Not, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Like, they explained to me that they took issues like this very seriously in their police department, and it was at most going to take a week for them to review my case and everything. So I'm thinking like they're on my side. Like I went in there feeling very confident that something was going to happen. I didn't care if it was like a slap on the wrist, or I just wanted something to, happen, because I felt like that whole situation was just not okay. My issues were, it was way too many police on the scene at one time. I was grabbed and yelled at for doing nothing, like absolutely nothing, which escalated the whole entire situation. And the officer wasn't even the first officer that arrived on the scene, and he escalated the whole entire situation. I was like, literally, I thought my life was over. Like the officer screamed at me and slammed the door in my face because he let his emotions take over on the middle of the scene. Like that's so unprofessional of a police officer, and it's the number one reason why they out here killing us, and they're gonna continue to kill us because they continue to put hotheads like all those officers on the police force who really don't give a fuck about us. But we're not here to talk about that right now. That's a whole nother different video. So I was upset about that. I was filing a complaint about, what else was I complaining about? The officer laughing and walking away. That was definitely in my complaint. And about them refusing to give me badge names or any type of names or anything. Like the officer ended up giving me his badge number, and not even his badge number. I think he gave me his radio number. Didn't even give me his name. If he gave me his name, he gave me like his last name or something. But he gave me his radio number, and I had specifically asked all of them to write down this information for me while I was in the back of the police car, because I was handcuffed and didn't have any type of paper, pen, cell phone to write this information down. Who the fuck gonna remember that shit in memory and they profusively crying and scared for their life? Ask them to write it down. And I only got a radio number written down. And so I was like, okay, so that's all I had to bring into the office, the UAPD, to identify the officers. So I complained about all of that. I complained about like excessive use of force, about me trying to de-escalate the situation, and the officers still tried to make the situation worse. Like it was just a lot of stuff that I complained about. And only thing that they were focused on was my car smelling like weed, my license being suspended, and like that was it. Like they were trying to make the whole situation about that. And I was like, wow, like how is all of this about that, when one, the officer was finna let me go about my way for driving with a suspended license, and I explained to him my situation, and he was very understanding of my situation. So that was not the problem. If that was the problem, he would have cuffed me and put me in the back of the police car after he found out my license was suspended. No, that was not the issue. The weed was not the issue. I let them search my car because I knew I didn't have any weed on me, and they didn't find any weed on me. That was not the issue. My issue was all the issues that I had previously listed. And when I tell you, they ignored all of that. All of that. I'm sitting over here. Me and him was talking for like 2 hours. I missed my genetics exam. I had to make that up. Ended up failing the fuck out of it because I was so discombobulated. Like school was the last thing on my mind, y'all. So he took all that information and was like, we're gonna review it. I asked him if I could review the body cams with him because I wanted to see what happened, because I knew exactly what happened, and I knew they was gonna try to misconstrue a lot of that. So I wanted to see the body cam footage as well. And they said we cannot, department policy cannot release body cam footage to you, but maybe, it's not guaranteed, maybe we can set up a meeting in the future to review the body cam footage together and go over it as a learning experience. And so I was like, okay. And so he said he would get back to me within a week with the follow-up. So a week had passed, called him, and And I had been in and out the office because I had to get like excuses for the classes that I missed and stuff like that. So he had been seeing me and stuff. But I had called him and made an appointment to see him in his office like a week later. It was probably, I think I waited longer than a week. It was a week or more later. And so I get there and he was like, they hadn't reviewed the body cam footage yet. He literally said he had not reviewed the body cam footage yet. But then he proceeded to say that he did not see the officers doing anything unlawful. Well, if anything, refusing to give me their badge number is like the first unlawful thing that should stick out to you. Like if nothing else sticks out to you, why do you have 4 officers on a job that refuse to identify themselves to people that they're trying to cuff and place in the back of a police car? Is that not sketchy to you? Is that not sketchy? So yeah, so he said that he had seen nothing unlawful, even though he had not had time to review the body cam footage due to the fact that they were dealing with promotions within their department. So department promotions was placed as a higher priority over a racist incident within your department. That's how UAPD wants to operate. And so, y'all, mind you, when I had, the girl posted it on Twitter, I had reposted it and it had went, kind of viral, a little viral, not nothing crazy. But a lot of people was like reposting it and stuff like that and commenting. And a lot of people from UA were sharing, a lot of Black students from UA were sharing their stories. And they had a lot of incidents where they was like, one girl was talking about a white couple accused her of hitting their car and she didn't even hit their car, and the officer came and instead of like trying to figure out what happened, they immediately took her and detained her, and it turned out that she wasn't even the one who hit their car. Like, that's the type of stuff that goes on at my PWI that nobody talks about. White officers doing Black students any kind of way, and instead of repercussions, they get promoted. So I made sure I followed up with the officer since Micah said he didn't have any time to review the body cam footage. I gave him time. Like 3-4 weeks later time, I called. So this is March. Last time I spoke to him was still in March. I think I had responded back to him. It was like April, May. And, I still hadn't heard nothing back from him. I called him on the phone and was just like, what's happening? He didn't answer, and he had called me back and was like, basically, he didn't get a chance to review all of the body cam footage, but he got done reviewing some of it. And he said the body cam footage that he did review, he didn't see anything unlawful going on. And when you file a formal complaint, you're supposed to get like a formal follow-up, not a phone conversation saying, hey, we're not going to do anything about it. Like, what? Like, did you even review the case? So he talking to me saying all this stuff, and I'm like so frustrated. I'm like, you're not taking the situation seriously at all. So we got off the phone conversation with nothing being accomplished. He called me, and then like a couple weeks later, he ended up sending me a formal follow-up of my complaint. He sent me an email, and I could also post that as well for y'all to see like what they ended up saying about everything that I complained about. It frustrated me so much, like I broke down in tears when I read that. And I called my mom, and I'm just calling my mom crying because I'm just like, they can do us like this? Like, this is how they treat us? And they can, y'all. And they started killing us, y'all. They started killing us, like, real bad, like rubber bullets, tear gas. Y'all, that was a really bad time for me. It was a really bad time for me. I say all that to say, nothing ever got done about the situation. Nobody took me serious. I was promised that the department takes issues like this very seriously, and it it took like 3 months for me to even get a follow-up, and I was promised it was gonna take no more than a week. They didn't care. They didn't care at all, and I don't know what it's gonna take for them to care. But all I know is that I'm a victim, and that's my story. Yeah, I did not deserve that. Like, I don't care how you look at the situation. I did not deserve that. But I'm just here to tell my story, y'all. Like, anyway, that was the tea for the day. I don't know why I got myself so emotional. Like, I'm gonna be sad for the rest of the day. Because it's just like, damn. The system really failed me. Me. Y'all. I've been doing everything right my whole life. But it's cool, though. That's just the type of shit you just gotta charge the game if you black. But anyway, y'all, I'm out. Like, I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. We just one people. And we should just all love each other like that. Peace. I wanted to add some clarity to the situation so y'all don't be like, bitch, what the fuck you capping? So in the report, he was talking about how the female officer I asked her for her name and badge number and the names of all the other officers. That part wasn't included. It just said that I asked her for her name and her badge number. This is why I wanted to review the tapes, because they left a lot of key information out. I asked her for her name, badge number, and all the other officers. I also asked the officer that initiated cuffing me for his name and his badge number, and he refused, and that wasn't included in the report as well. And he walked away laughing, and that wasn't included in the report as well. I wanted to review the body cam footage of all the officers because it would have showed all the different perspectives. You would have been able to hear him laughing. You would have been able to hear me banging on the window as he was laughing from the female officer's body cam footage, because she was standing outside of the window when this all happened. Like, all of this would have been able to be seen on body cam footage, which they refused to allow me to see. And so, yes, the female officer verbally said her name. I don't remember if she said her name and badge number, but I know she at least said her name. And I asked her, can she write it down for me? I was like, after she said her name, I was like, I forgot, like, after she said it. So I was like, can you write it down for me? And that's when the other officer had came over, and when he said no, because I think she was about to write it down for me. And that's when I was talking about earlier, like, I was working her to getting towards giving me the information that I was requesting. And when he had came over and said no, he wasn't going to give me his name or badge number, that's when she was like, no, she wasn't going to write down the information for me. And if we would have reviewed the body cam footage, we would have been able to see that. And then another thing, they were talking about the officers were calling me like ma'am and stuff. I wasn't the first person. Like, when that officer grabbed me and like pulled me towards him, like, anybody's reaction would have been like, get your hands off me. And that was my reaction. I was like, get your hands off of me. And so when I told him that, he got in my face and was yelling at me like, don't tell him what to do, this, that, and the third. And so I felt threatened and I got loud back with him. And that's when the blackness in me came out like, nigga, get your hands off of me. Like now we went from, okay, I'm not going to say nothing. Okay, to now, get your hands off of me. And so I'm the one saying, can officers come over? Can other officers come over? I'm the one saying, can somebody come and get this man off of me? And the female officer that was standing, the other one, she's literally looking at us the whole time. Like, she's not doing anything but watching the situation. So her body cam footage can tell y'all exactly, can show what exactly happened in that situation. Me and him are both going back and forth. He's being just as loud with me as I'm being loud with him. And they're talking about the officers were talking to me calmly. It was nothing calm about that man that grabbed me. And he said that he grabbed me because my presence posed a threat to the officer that was searching my car. And that was his justification for snatching me up. Mind you, it was 2 officers standing next to me. And I was posing such a threat to that man with a gun and probably a taser. Nothing on my body. Not even saying anything. I was posing such a threat that he felt the need to snatch me up and yell at me. That wasn't included in the report. What else they were saying? They were saying a testable amount of marijuana. They told me they didn't find no weed in my car. But now it's a testable amount. Okay. Another reason why I wanted to review the body cam footage, why I wanted to have my copy of the body cam footage, because the stories don't align, like, at all. It's funny how they're leaving out all the key details from my story and they're only picking out specific parts of the overall story to paint me like the bad guy, Micah Rogers had admitted to there being an unreasonable amount of officers on the scene for that type of situation. He still didn't do anything about it, didn't even address it in the report. What else? Oh, it wasn't even addressed, the fact that the officer had like yelled at me and slammed the door in my face, and I felt like afraid for my life, that I complained about as well. That wasn't even addressed in the report. But if we reviewed the body cam footage, we could have seen that whole scene happen. But it's funny how they don't want you to review the body cam footage when they know it's stuff they have to cover up. But I mean, it's still in. Look, if anybody knows how to get body cam footage from a police department, comment down below. Comment down below. But anyways, y'all, I just wanted to clarify a couple of those points. If y'all are confused about any other information, comment down below. We can have a little chit chat about it. But yeah.
Man, whole weight, you gotta get it. I peel away, fade away, cold, baby. Rest in peace.